And today it's my pleasure to introduce you to C.W. Lemoyne. But part of what we're doing today, in addition to introducing you to our judges, is also we want to give the judges an opportunity. Each of them has their own amazing story about survival or survival training that they've encountered in aviation. And so we're going to have an opportunity to learn from each of these individuals as well. And, you know, you might be asking yourself, why Lightspeed doing this? And it's really because we love aviation. We're passionate about aviation, and we also feel like aviation survival is one of those topics that's not always necessarily top of mind for people. So we started a series of blog posts, and we've got this contest just to really help bring a little bit more awareness, a little bit more education about aviation survival skills in particular to our audience, to people who are flying general aviation planes. So without further ado, C.W. Lemoyne, also called Mover, is the author of a couple of series of military espionage books, the Spectre series and also the Alex Shepard series. He's a Louisiana native, graduated from the A.B. Freeman School of Business at Tulane University in New Orleans. And after graduating from college, he joined the Air Force Reserve, where he flew F-16s and accumulated about 1,000 hours and a combat tour in Iraq. After that, he transferred to the Naval Reserve, where he flew F-18 plus 18A plus Hornets for 4 years, and he currently flies for a legacy U.S. airline and T-38As for the Air Force Reserve as an Adversary pilot. CW, great to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited about your competition or contest, and honored to be a part of the panel. Although I don't consider myself a celebrity, I think it's awesome to take part in what you guys are doing.
Well, thank you. And thank you for all of your service to our country as well. Tell us a little bit about when you went into the Air Force, what some of your survival training was like.
Oh, wow. Well, so, I mean, that's obviously a big thing for military flying. We all go to SEER, Survival, Evasion, Resistance, and Escape. I went up in Fairchild. So you start out with land survival, where they take you out to the woods and you learn how to you know, what happens in a scenario where you eject or you go down in an aircraft or something like that, and you have to live off the land. You have to create shelter. You have to stay warm. You know, you have to get food. You have to communicate with rescue forces, find a way. And then also, because it's military, we also learn how to evade capture from the enemy, and then what happens if you do get captured and how to deal with that. We also do what's called water survival. So we'll go out for the Air Force. It's down in Pensacola, and we learn how to survive, you know, if you have to eject into in a water scenario. And the Navy does the same thing. What's interesting is the Navy obviously is much more water centric. So, you know, you do a helo dunker, you do a whole lot more underwater stuff than you would in the Air Force. But it's a lot of training, and it stresses how important it is to know your equipment and know kind of what your limitations are for yourself as a human, your body. You know, how long can you survive without food? How long can you survive without water? How do you get water if you need to? And it just kind of gives you the fundamentals so that you can survive and live to fight another day.
Right, right. Well, that's amazing. And then so is that a one-time thing, or is there like ongoing, are you continuously trying to keep those skills useful?
So you do it once, you do the basic SEER once up in Fairchild, and then it's annual refreshers, or sorry, I don't know. I don't remember. You'll have to edit this part out because I don't
Okay.
remember how long it is.
That's okay.
But you do refresher training as well for both water survival. I think in the Navy it was every 3 to 5 years. I don't remember how long it was, but you do refresher training for water survival and land survival. And then when you go to a new base or location, you'll meet with the local SEER guys, and they'll tell you all the local hazards. And, you know, like in Florida, when I went to Tyndall, you know, I got a brief on here's, you know, the local, if you eject, you know, look out for alligators, look out for, you know, sharks in these waters, you know, stuff that is specific to the region that you're going. And even when you deploy, you know, you're getting the local survival briefings there.
Right. Yeah, it's fascinating. So do you have any advice maybe for general aviation pilots who aren't necessarily going to have to try to avoid capture, but nonetheless may still be facing hours or days until search and rescue can get to them? Some advice for a GA pilot.
Yeah, the biggest thing, especially if you own your own aircraft, is having a survival kit and knowing what's in it. So being able to create a kit that you're comfortable with, you know how to use it. How are you gonna procure the basics? Water. How are you gonna do first aid? Because if you're injured, you have to be able. You're the only person there. You're gonna have to be the one that takes care of injuries and stuff like that. How do you stay warm? How do you avoid exposure injuries and stuff like that? So just being familiar and having that education, which is what your series is doing, is crucial to survival. And then finally, the biggest thing, if you can survive, that's great, but you also have to be able to communicate with rescue forces because you have to be able to get yourself out. So being familiar with all of that equipment, I think is very important to being able to successfully get yourself out of a bad situation.
Excellent. Well, great. So, can you tell us what an adversary pilot is?
Right now I'm flying a T-38A, so really old airplanes. I mean, some of these were built in the early 60s. And we go out and simulate bad guys for the F-22 and F-35. So we'll go out there and give them, we're red forces essentially. So we're the guys that go and they practice against us to give them realistic threat replication.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that sounds fascinating, and you've got to be sharp, I'm sure, to do that kind of flying. That sounds amazing. Yes. So, well, great. Well, if people wanted to learn a little bit more about your books and some of your biography and stuff, where could they go?
Yeah, just go to the website, www.cwlemoyne.com. That's Lemoine, or you can find me on YouTube. I've got a YouTube channel, CW Lemoyne, or any social media under CW Lemoyne.
Perfect. Well, thank you. And you'll have some of your books are going to be part of the prize package. We're super excited about that, and we really appreciate you taking time out today and also to be one of our celebrity judges. You're going to bring a great experience to the people who enter the contest. So thank you.
Absolute honor and a privilege. Thanks so much for including me.